Welcome back. All right, so the rest of the games today, featuring mostly teams that are below the playoff line, but there's some interesting stuff going on there too. And when you've got a league where you've got 16 teams out of 32 that make the playoffs, you're going to have a lot below the playoff line. So we're going to start things off looking at the Buffalo Sabres and the Ottawa Senators. Ottawa needs to string together some wins, and that really showed today. I thought they showed a lot of heart. Buffalo, they had some good stretches in this game. They committed this with a 6-game winning streak. And they started Craig Anderson against the Ottawa Senators. Forsberg starting for the Sens, one of Forsberg's best games in a while. Early press by the Sabres, but the Sens pushed the other way, and at 47 seconds, Stützle gets a goal from Giroux and Tkachuk. So his second attempt ends up going in. It's 1-0. Olofsson then had a net drive that was held. Okposo has a shot deflect wide. 5 minutes into the game, the shots are 6-2 for Ottawa. So Ottawa doing quite well at hitting the net. Buffalo having some more trouble with that. Hitting's picking up in the second half of that period. Dahlin has a screenshot that's held. The Sabres press with 4 minutes left. The shots even up later on. With 1:46 left, the Sabres get a power play. Then becomes a minute and 40 seconds of 5-on-3. Dahlin has a blast that's blocked. The Sens clear it out 3 times, or as I put on the board, thrice. So it rolls over into the second period. There's 14 seconds left on the 5-on-3, meaning there wasn't a whole lot of time left in either penalty to start, and so the Sens finish the kill. Huge test there, and they pass it. Then there's a press by the Sabres at 2 minutes. Giroux had a rush chance that wouldn't go. The Sabres go back to the power play. That's killed off. But the Sabres would tie it shortly after it's done. Gergensen scores from Samuelsson and Lyubushkin at 6:51. Chabot then has a shot that's held. Anderson really solid in this game. As the stats show, they don't lie. Both goaltenders very good. Batherson then has a shot that's held as the Sens press. There's a power play for the Senators pretty much right at the halfway mark. I think it was 9:59 into the period. And then it's Lucchini. That's one way to get your first NHL goal. He scores from Pinto and Giroux at 11:45. Nice to see him get his first goal. It was a good cycle by the Sens, and it makes it 2-1 in his favor. Or his team's favor. Krebs is then denied. The Sabres are pressing for the tie, but the Sens press back. Pinto's denied twice there. There's a press by the Sabres with 4 minutes left. The Sabres get pinned down. The Sabres even able to get a change in during that time. Long shifts for everybody, but the Sens would eventually clear it out, and they survived that. Then there's a last-minute press by the Sens. So coming out of that second period is 2-1, but very competitive, evenly played game. Going into the third. The Sens with the early jump. In fact, 3 minutes in, they're leading in shots 3-0. Skinner has a net drive that's held. Tkachuk has a blast that's blockered aside. The shots are 8-4 for the Sens at the half. Tkachuk's denied on a rush. There was a strong forecheck by Ottawa. Post for Thompson away from a tie game. The Sabres press with 6 minutes left. Olofsson's robbed. Forsberg holds on, and despite the chances for Buffalo, they pull the goaltender, and Ottawa hits the empty net. It's Stützle from Chabot at 18:49. Your final score is 3-1 for the Sens. They get back to 500, 17-17-3. The trick is getting above that mark. On the Buffalo side, they drop to 18-15-2. The streak ends at 6, and it gets tougher, because you look at how many points you are behind, and if you lose a game, that number's going to grow. The shots in this one, 11-8 Buffalo in the first, 13-12 Buffalo in the second, 13-10 Ottawa in the third. Final shots are 34-33 for Buffalo. I think that's very indicative that it was a very evenly played game. Buffalo 0 for 3, including that 5-on-3. Ottawa scored on the only power play they had, and it's Lucchini with the game winner. Hits were 33-18 for Ottawa, so they were the more physical team. Anderson saves 30 out of 32. Forsberg saves 33 out of 34. And yeah, that was a very entertaining game. I think it was the most entertaining of the 3 games that I'm reviewing here. Next up, San Jose in against Chicago. Ottawa didn't play split squad. San Jose in against Chicago. I did wear a San Jose jersey for the preview because to me that was kind of an easy call. Chicago just absolutely in a nosedive now. It's Kakinen versus Mrazek in this one. Mrazek's tested first. The Sharks had the edge 3.5 minutes in. They led in the shots category 3-0. Taves to Radish near miss. The Sharks press at 6 minutes. Murphy has a shot that's blocked. The Sharks clear it out. McCabe then had a shot blocked as the Hawks press. Sharks get a power play. Couture's shot's tipped wide. They do kill that off. Kurashev has a shot that's held as they press. The Sharks press with 2.5 minutes left. 2:07 left. The Sharks get a power play. That's killed off. And Mrazek with a couple of saves right before the horn. So it's scoreless after one. Really good first period for Mrazek. So how does it work out in the second? Well, it starts off with too many Hawks on the ice. The Sharks get an early power play. Hawks don't let them set up, however, and that's killed off, and the shots are 2-1 for Chicago 5 minutes in, so no damage done. McCabe has a shot that's held, and then it's Kane opening the scoring for Chicago from Mitchell at 6:40. It's a blasted home. He saw an opening, and the opening was helped by the fact that Kakinen did not have his stick, so he didn't have a very good position to make the save there. The Hawks press at 9 minutes, looking for another. There was a power play for Chicago. That's killed off, but Lafferty would add one from NYI-SEA at 13:30. It's 2-0 in favor of Chicago. Cue the comeback. 15-12, Gadjevich scores one from Lindblom and Carlson. That one flutters in over Mrazek's shoulder. So that keeps Carlson's point streak going. He's up to 13-game assist streak, I do believe. He's closing in on an NHL record, because of course he is. But they did show some footage with Carlson and just how random his positioning is. To label him a defenseman, he really is a rover. I've had people say, oh, you can't say that, he's a defenseman. He really is a rover, though. If he thinks he can go in the offensive corner and get it, he just goes and gets it. And so you have to have somebody able to cover for him. That's where you need a forward coming back to cover when he's going up front. And that, I think, is part of the issue with San Jose with some of their goals against. But anyhow, the Sharks tie it, but it's waved off as a kick. However, the league talks to the refs, and the call's overturned. So Vlasic gets that one. That's his first of the year from Benning and Couture at 15:53. And then the Sharks look for the lead, and they get it. Barabanov scores from Couture and Carlson at 18:34. So Carlson, with a couple of assists, continues his amazing scoring rate. It's 3-2 Sharks after 2. Third period, the Hawks press at 3 minutes, but it is Timo Meier who adds one from Harrington and LeBanc at 3:52. The Hawks get a power play. Athanasiou fires one wide. That's killed off. Hawks go right back to the power play. Kane's denied. The Sharks kill that off. And then, for good measure, Svechnikov scores from Bonino and Lindblom at 12:55. Buries the rebound there. Svechnikov had another chance later on in the period. That deflects out. But San Jose wins this one big, 5-2. They go to 12-20-7 with the win for the Chicago Blackhawks, 8-24-4. I've checked. That's not a very good record. So yeah, Chicago loses another. The shots in this one, 13-6 San Jose in the first, 10 apiece in the second, 6-5 Chicago in the third. Final shots, 28-22 for San Jose. So they had no goals on their first in the first period, where they had 13 shots, and then they had 5 goals on 15 shots in the second and third. Power plays, San Jose 0 for 3, Chicago 0 for 3 as well. Hits were 22-16 for Chicago. Kakinen, 20 saves on 22 shots. Despite allowing those 2 goals to start things off for Chicago, he gets the win. Mrazek saves 23 out of 28. And yeah, for Chicago fans, this is just the season that doesn't seem like it's going to end anytime soon, does it? But at any rate, we'll move on to Seattle, where they were hosting the New York Islanders. The Seattle Kraken have had a really hard time winning lately. I think it's 3 wins in their last 11. But today they looked like the Seattle Kraken that won 12 out of 14. So maybe the change to the new calendar year will help Seattle. Sorokin versus Jones in this one. There's an early press by the Kraken. They don't get shots there, though. The Islanders were doing a good job of blocking and clearing. However, 5 minutes in, the shots are 3-0 for Seattle. So there are still a few getting through. 9 minutes in, we still have no shots for the New York Islanders. None. So that's problematic. You don't get goals without shots. I've checked. It's true. Ratu then had a wraparound that was the Islanders' first shot. Puck goes the other way, and at 9:53, Larson on a good little press there scores from Donato and Sprong. So yeah, for the Islanders, they're down 1-0, and they have 1 shot so far. The Islanders then get a power play. There's a shorthanded rush chance for Gord. That was held. They kill that off, just the 1 shot on net for the Islanders during that. The Islanders press, the Kraken block. Beauvillier has a rush chance that's saved, and then on a rush, Barzal scores from Cizikas and Bailey, and it goes 5-hole. It's just one of those ones that just, you end up getting that. You may not plan on it, but afterwards you can go, yeah, no, that was what I planned to do. The Islanders then look for the lead. They have some momentum. The last minute, they have some pressure as well. And with 5.1 seconds left, they go to the power play. So that rolls over into the second period. There's a shorthanded rush by Donato that's saved. There's a shorthanded forecheck by Gord that helps kill some time. They do kill that off. So clearly, rolling over into the second period gave Seattle a chance to talk it over in the intermission. Gord has a chance kicked aside. The Seattle Kraken then get a power play that came into this one for their last 28, but they score here. And it's Eeli Tolvanen with his first with the Seattle Kraken, believe in his first game with Seattle as well, from Dunham McCann at 358. And this is why Tolvanen gets picked up by Seattle. They can put him into a primary spot on the power play. They have room for that. A lot of other teams wouldn't. So that was a one-timer, and there you go. Kraken then press. That draws him a power play. That was killed off. 8.5 minutes left in the period. The shots are 9-4 for Seattle. And then Bjorkstrand adds one from Alexiak and Gord at 13:04. Bjorkstrand, of course, has been cold this season. Maybe this is a sign he's going to heat up. Kraken press again with 4.5 minutes left. Really, the momentum was all with them at this point. The Islanders press back with 3 minutes left. Fasching then fired one wide on a rush. But we're going to the third period with Seattle ahead 3-1. Sorokin took a shot to the neck early in it, or collarbone or neck, right up in here. No padding there. So Corey Schneider started getting his gear on, but it turned out Sorokin was okay. He stays in the game. Kraken had the early edge in this. Aho crashed into the boards. It was an ugly-looking crash, but he ends up being okay. Bjorkstrand has a shot that's held. Nelson was denied on a rush. That was the first shot of the third period. Schwartz has a blast that's saved. The Islanders clear it out. Things get kind of punchy after a hold by Sorokin. This was not a really violent game, though. That's one of the few punch-ups we saw there, and there wasn't anything major to cause a penalty. Eberle has a chance to deflect wide. The Kraken are blocking out. The Islanders didn't have any room out there at this point in the game. And then the bonkers stuff starts. So there's 5:31 left in the game, but the clock ran out. And as the referee that they talked to, Dave Jackson, said, retired NHL ref, why didn't they just stop the clock and just keep playing and then fix it during the next stoppage? Good question, because what happens is the horn sounds. So people get up, they put on their jackets, and they're leaving. I'm not sure why. Now, I've been at a lot of hockey games. I keep a pretty good eye on what's going on with the clock during the game. I think I would notice if suddenly 5.5 minutes were gone off the clock. Now, I don't have any proof that Lane Lambert rigged it to get the clock to run out so he could get this, because he knew his team wasn't coming back and he just wanted to get to Vancouver and get ready for that. But why not? It's as good a theory as any. So, I mean, it's a brand new building. You can't afford to get a good clock. Beniers fires one high. Goalie gets pulled with 3 minutes left. 1:33 left. There's icing by the Kraken. Maybe the clock doesn't work when the sun goes down. Maybe. So 1:33 left. It doesn't make any sense. All the games are played at night, mainly. So, yeah, the goalie gets pulled. There's an icing call. There's icing again with 1:19 left. I'm watching this completely checked out at this point because so are the Islanders. Lee has a deflection saved. 49 seconds left. They call a timeout. That leads to an empty net goal by Tanev to make it 4-1 from Dunn and Gord at 19:25. Seattle wins this one 4-1. They go to 19-12-4. The Islanders, with this loss, combined with the Rangers win earlier today, they dropped to 21-15-2 and are now below the playoff line. So now it's Pittsburgh and the Rangers that are above the playoff line and the Islanders below it. It's never too early to start looking at that. So the shots are 12-6 for Seattle in the first, 15-6 Seattle in the second, 8-7 Seattle in the third. They outshoot the Islanders 35-19. Power plays, the Islanders 0 for 2, Seattle 1 for 2. The hits, 26-24 for the Islanders. Sorokin saves 31 out of 34, and Jones saves 18 out of 19. Good quiet night for Jones. Not an overly difficult night, and he needs that because his save percentage has taken a beating lately. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts about these games in the comment section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Remember, tomorrow's the Winter Classic. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.